Opening night at the Twin Towers arrives. A metallic ball is rolled into the central surveillance room in the first level of the tower basements. The ball releases a gas that immediately knocks out the guards watching the CCTV screens. The culprit plants bombs in the main server room, near the entrance and on the rooftop of Tower A. At the same time, at Kagoro's detective agency, everyone meets up to go to the party, but Sonoko is late. Conan and Hibara quietly discuss the case, and Conan asks Hibara if Hara could be involved with the Black Organization. Hibara says it might be possible. The organization looks to recruit different sorts of specialists from all possible fields to work on its research projects. Sonoko finally arrives, wearing her hair in a perm like Hibara. Outside of the buildings, Takagi, Chiba, Megure, and Shiratori stand guard, having had their entrance refused by Tokiwa, so all the police can do for now is watch the guests arriving for the party. In the reception room, everyone immediately notices a shiny red Ford Mustang convertible on a pedestal. The kids wonder how it was transported to the 75th floor as the car is too big to fit into the regular elevator, but Ayumi notices there is another elevator for cargo that was used to bring the car upstairs. The guests enjoy a beautiful view of the sunset from the high windows, and Mio Tokiwa walks on stage. She announces the guests will now be able to join a game she herself learned from her father, the 30 seconds game. Participants will have to guess when 30 seconds have passed without using their watches or phones. Whoever comes closest will win the Mustang. If there is a tie, the winner will be decided by rock paper scissors, and the loser receives a mountain bike with a helmet. Mio's assistant collects everyone's watches except for Conan's and Hibara's. Before the game officially begins, Conan notices that Kisaragi didn't participate either. Mio starts the stopwatch and, to everyone's immense surprise, Kagoro wins the game. Sawaguchi calls up several guests of honor who helped build the Twin Towers to the stage, before the lights are switched off for a special presentation. On a screen in front of the stage, the guests see a variety of paintings made by Hojui Kisaragi as an announcer talks about his artistic career, saying they will now officially present his latest masterpiece. The spotlights are turned on, revealing a massive painting of Mount Fuji, and Mio Tokiwa's body dangles from a wire in front of the painting. She was hanged. Kagoro brings her body down to do a first inspection and notices a sake cup on the floor next to Mio's corpse. This one, however, is unbroken. They draw the curtains and Kagoro calls Megure and his officers to join him at the scene of the crime. They notice Mio's body was attached to a hook tied to the ceiling with piano wire, so she choked to death when the painting lowered and the wire was being pulled upwards. They decide to recreate the moment the murder was committed, instructing all suspects to stand where they stood when the lights went out. Kagoro accuses Kisaragi of committing the murder as he stood next to Mio, saying his motive was to prevent Mio from making a profit with his paintings. Takagi interjects, saying Kisaragi had no idea about the sake cups being left at the other crime scenes. Kagoro now declares it has to have been Sawaguchi, accusing her of being as ambitious as her father and of continuing her father's investigation into Oki's wrongdoings. Sawaguchi's father believed Oki was being bribed by Tokiwa to allow the building of the Twin Towers to continue. Sawaguchi asks Kagoro if he has any proof, and he comes up with an outlandish theory. He says Choko, sake cup, is spelled with the kanji for boar and kuchi, and is a hint at Sawaguchi, who was born in the year of the boar. Conan wants to interrupt, but Hibara motions him over, saying she has an idea about the way the murder was committed. Hibara says Mio couldn't have noticed someone attached a piano wire to her pearl necklace as she had been drinking, and this is how she was lured to her death. Conan has a look and finds a lone pearl next to the place Kisaragi stood in. He quickly gets the elevator to the ground level to confirm his suspicion for Kisaragi's motive. Suddenly, at the 4th basement level, one of the bombs planted by the culprit explodes in the power generator room and all the lights in a tower go out. The second bomb detonates in the server room and eradicates all data on the servers belonging to the Tokiwa Corporation, setting off a giant fire in the process. Sawaguchi remembers that the VIP elevators are still working as they run on an independent power source. All women and children are instructed to escape by the elevators, which directly lead out of a tower, and Megure instructs the men to use the emergency stairs, cross over the sky bridge and run down Tower B. Firefighters arrive and formulate a plan to put the fires out. The evacuation begins. Conan almost fits in the elevator, but the weight sensors go off, making him wait for the next one. The elevator stops on the 66th floor and the detective boys get out as well, leaving their place to a frightened young woman and her baby, but leaving them stuck in the building as well. Conan realizes the way the bombs were planted directly points to the organization. It was too precise to be committed to an ordinary criminal. The elevator finally returns to the 75th floor and Conan, Ran, and Sonoko step in. On the way down, Conan suddenly realizes that the organization think Hibara, or rather Shiho Mayano, is at the party as well and that they now mistake Sonoko for her thanks to her new hairstyle. He zooms into the roof of B Tower, using his glasses, and spots Jin who has a sniper pointing his rifle directly at Sonoko. Conan tricks Sonoko into moving out of the way and Jin, who observes them from the roof, realizes that this can't be Shiho, as Sonoko behaves rather strangely when a bullet hits the elevator next to her. The elevator gets stuck. Conan uses the elevator hatch to escape and Ran opens the door to the 45th floor. With flames making their way upwards, Conan hurries everyone across to the second sky bridge. Jin and Vodka lock their scope lenses onto the second bridge, believing Sherry must be escaping with the men. When they don't see her, they decide to blow up both bridges in the 60th and 45th floors, leaving Sherry trapped in Tower A. Just as the detective boys want to hurry across the bridge in the 60th floor, it is blown up by Vodka, sending it crashing into the bridge on the 45th floor, trapping Conan and Ran as well. Smoke starts billowing into the room and Conan and Ran start to feel nauseous. Ran quickly thinks of a way to escape, breaks the glass hatch next to her, grabs a fire hose behind the hatch, ties it around Conan and herself and jumps off the building, using the force to break another glass window just as the hose starts to burn. Conan and Ran reach the police downstairs, but Conan can't see the detective boys. At exactly that moment, Genta contacts him with his badge, telling him they are still stuck on the 60th floor. Make your calls for a helicopter to rescue the kids. Conan sneaks across to Agasa's car to grab his skateboard, takes the elevator up to the 60th floor of B Tower and jumps across the remains of the sky bridge to a tower, helping the detective boys escape to the roof before he goes back to the 75th floor to confront the serial killer. After everyone has evacuated from floor 75th, Conan and Hibara confront the culprit who is yet to evacuate from the party room, Hojui Kisaragi. Kisaragi sent an expensive pearl necklace to President Mio, which she wore at the party. At the backstage, prior to the murder, he hooked a wire from the top of his painting of Mount Fuji along the top of the curtain and tied it to an identical necklace. Shortly before his painting would be displayed, he silently approached Mio and removed the necklace from her neck. After calming her down, he pretended to pick at the necklace up and put the second necklace on her instead. With his trap in place, all he had to do was wait for the painting to be lowered down, choking Mio to death. Kisaragi left a sake cup on the stage to frame the serial killer for it. During the first murder, Kisaragi visited Oki by presenting him a painting as a gift, lowering Oki's guard. After Oki was murdered, he removed the painting which was hung on the wardrobe door from the crime scene, creating a strange shape of bloodstains. However, Kisaragi wasn't the one who killed Hara, as Hara was already murdered by the time that he arrived at the latter's house. Instead, he used the broken cup that he had prepared to make it appears that the murderer of both Oki and Hara was the same person, and removing himself from the suspect list as his alibi during the second murder was verified by the detective boys. The evidence that proves Kisaragi's crime is hidden in his cane, the first necklace that Mio wore. Conan noticed strange sound coming from the cane after the murder, meaning that Kisaragi had hidden something inside it. Kisaragi concedes and confesses, he committed all 3 murders for the sake of Mount Fuji. For 10 years, he always climbed a hill just outside of Nishitama City to paint the mountain. When old age caught up with him, he built a house on top of the hill to keep enjoying his favorite perspective of Mount Fuji when he painted, a view that was ruined by the twin towers which split the mountain in half. Thus he murdered Mio and planned to murder Hara in vengeance for their involvement in constructing the towers, and Oki for approving the tower's construction plan. The broken sake cup was a reference to his now spoiled view of Mount Fuji. He left an unbroken sake cup at the third crime scene because the serial cases had already ended, and that Mio's body provided the same symbolism as she was hung in front of his painting, dividing the mountain the same way. With all of his crimes exposed, Kisaragi tries to commit suicide by poison, which he originally intended to do so after he had succeeded in his goal, but is tranquilized by Conan with his watch, stating that as a detective he cannot allow Kisaragi to commit suicide as he must pay for his own sin. Hibara, who listened to Conan's deduction, asks when Conan became suspicious of Kisaragi. Conan says he noticed the twin towers seemingly splitting Mount Fuji in two when they got out of Asahino Station, and that he wondered why Kisaragi had his blinds drawn even though his house supposedly offered a perfect view of the mountain. He also explains that he knows who actually killed Hara. Hara grabbed his silver knife to leave a dying message. Silver in Japanese means Jin. Jin didn't suspect this, thinking Hara wanted to defend himself with the knife. Conan says Hara must have hacked into the Black Organization's computers, which explains why his entire hard drive was erased. Conan goes upstairs and Hibara remains in the room, noticing a glowing red light behind the bar that she thinks has to come from a bomb. Just as Conan reaches the roof, Vodka remotely activates a bomb, making it impossible for the rescue helicopter to land, so Conan quickly helps the detective boys down to the reception room again. Hibara shows a horrified Conan that she found a bomb under every table in the reception room. Conan frantically looks around and spots the dome on the roof of B Tower, remembering that it is retractable. He thinks they can bridge the distance between both towers with the Mustang which remained in the room. Hibara challenges Conan's assumption, saying the distance is 50 meters and they would need a minimum of 60 meters to successfully land on B Tower. With the height difference taken into account, it will take only 2 seconds for the car to hit the tower and they would need a speed of 108 km per hour. Conan explains he wants to use the explosion as an accelerant. This plan, however, needs absolutely precise timing and Conan's watch battery just died. They remember how good Ayumi was at the 30 seconds game, so they tell her to help everyone and tell Conan to start the car on time. Hibara decides she will also count down to 30 to help Ayumi and remains sitting on one of the tables. Conan calls Magyar and asks for the roof of B Tower to be opened. They load an unconscious Kisaragi into the car and start the countdown a minute before the bombs are due to explode. As 30 seconds approach, Hibara doesn't want to make any move, so Genta jumps out of the car, hauls her over his shoulder and runs back into the car with Hibara with 5 seconds remaining. Conan hits the accelerator, the bombs detonate and the car flies through the air. Hibara almost falls out, but Mitsuhiko saves her. Conan suddenly notices a glass sculpture inside the pool on Tower B, realizing how dangerous this could be for Hibara, so he kicks Ayumi's helmet, which she had won for coming second in the 30 seconds game at the party, into the sculpture, breaking it and saving Hibara. The car safely lands in the pool. Ayumi explains that she always gets excited when Conan is near her so she can count her heartbeat to help guessing how many seconds have passed. Vodka is informed that 5 children and an old man have escaped with the car and finally realizes Sherry was nowhere near the towers. Jin says he doesn't care, their main objective has been fulfilled. The servers used by Tokiwa are destroyed. The police arrest Kisaragi. Suddenly, a horrified Kagoro realizes that his brand new car is now swimming in the pool, completely submerged. This is the end of part 2. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Remember to like, share and subscribe to support our channel, and don't forget to press the notification bell button to not miss upcoming interesting videos. See you later.